Robert Stats, where were you based in November 1978?
I was based at Fort Dix, New Jersey, which is right next to McGuire Air Force Base, where we transport a lot of people from the East Coast to Germany, Europe, and stuff like that.
Yeah. What was your job at that time?
I was a personnel control facility officer, which we take AWOL apprehension personnel, process them in, based on what they want to do is either stay in the military and receive court-martial punishment, or get out with a dishonorable discharge.
So your particular job right then involved, just for folks who don't know, AWOL, absent without leave, sort of processing these folks who either come back voluntarily or been tracked down?
Yes, and we had a lot of them that were during the Vietnam War that went AWOL and didn't want to serve.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So in the late 70s, you're still dealing with Vietnam-era AWOL guys?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What kind of punishments would they face? Because I mean, I know, was it Ford or Carter who gave amnesty to the ones who went to Canada?
Some of them would get reduction in grade, reduction in pay, if they wanted to get back in the military and go ahead and finish their service. Some of them that did not want to would either end up in Leavenworth for a period of time and also receive a dishonorable discharge.
Wow. So a guy who, let's say a guy goes AWOL in 1970, maybe gets a ticket or something, the police officer finds out he's AWOL, now he's back in Army custody. This person could say, okay, I'll get busted down to E1 and finish out my 2 years in the Army? That could be an option?
That would be an option. That way he would at least get an honorable discharge.
Wow. So the reason I'm asking about November 78 is, of course, that's when the whole People's Temple Jonestown thing goes down. And you have a long career in the Army, and you've seen a lot of things. And one of the things you saw was just part of that Jonestown, that process of more than 900 Americans dying in Jonestown, Guyana, and then the bodies coming back. So, I mean, what did you see in relation to that, the bodies coming back from Jonestown back to the States?
Well, we got to where I was based at, McGuire Air Force Base was right next door, so and the runway would go right down past our building, and we would watch the aircraft go in and out. And later on, sometime during that time, we also found out that McGuire Air Force probably was tasked with bringing back some of the bodies from Jonestown because they were splitting them up. Most of them would go to Dover Air Force Base, which was closer to California, where a lot of those people were residents from. And some of them would come to the East Coast. And one of the largest Air Force bases at that time that handled C-141 Starlift aircraft was McGuire Air Force Base, and they would bring some of those in there and place them in a makeshift morgue to make sure that they were identified properly using either the passports or whatever they had available that they found down in Jonestown. And then the families would come that were living on the East Coast and pick up the remains.
Now, is this stuff that you heard about when you were on the base, or did you actually see some of this?
I saw a lot of the aircraft going in and out, which was very unusual out of that air base, and we got a confirmation, some of those flights were going down to Guyana at the airport there and picking some of the remains up. And at the same time, that's when we found out that Dover Air Force Base was getting a lot of them. They were getting the bulk of them back to Dover.
In terms of the caskets and things like that, you didn't see any of that stuff?
No. We did get information as it was coming down the pipeline what was going on because we were close to the air base and we had a lot of questions. And a lot of people in Wrightstown, which lives right next to the base, were asking us too. And we were getting a lot of information from them, what's going on. And some of the employees there.
Had you ever heard of People's Temple before?
Yes, I have.
I mean, before this event in November 78, you ever heard of the People's Temple?
It was quite common what was going on with them down there, and a lot of that